Hey there, history peeps. Let's get to the new stuff, shall we? So, first off, this is the South that we're doing. So, we did not do any of this, or I think maybe in one class I talked about it for like 1 second. But we really didn't talk about this at length in class on Monday. So, first thing to notice, there's two different colors at play here, right? So, whatever color you used for the slave states, which was blue on mine, right? You need to make sure that is what you are using to outline all of these states. And again, at the end, I'll pause it, or I won't pause it, but I'll hold it so that you could pause and finish that. Okay, but everything from Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia, yes, we include West Virginia separately to get another idea in your head, but really this was all Virginia at the time. West Virginia and Virginia were one thing. Now, Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware, which doesn't exist on this map, were all what we call the border states. Border states just means, and it's really getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but that's okay. Border states just means these are states that had slavery, but when the Civil War comes, these states stay in the Union. So even though they have slavery, they do not join the Confederacy, which means that they get a different label. And there's a reason for that I'll hopefully get to in this video in my 5-minute time limit. Also notice that Kansas um, is a free state. So whatever color you use for free state, make sure you put Kansas there. I'll talk about Kansas more when I talk about the West. Oh, no. No. All right. So the South, what's going on? Remember, you only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors here. The South is a cash crop economy. So they want to grow essentially raw materials, raw goods, and send them elsewhere, all over the world. So they are involved in trade like the North, but it's a little bit different. There's not room for a lot of cities here. Charleston and Baltimore and New Orleans are really your best bets for any cities in the South. You could still ship things from the North, but essentially you are looking at goods to make um, to send somewhere else, and you aren't looking at making your own goods very often. So I'm going to talk from probably least important to most important. So indigo, that's just a plant that's used to make dye. So it was a thing you could grow and you could sell it. Makes kind of like a purple blue that was really sought after. Um, and so, yeah, it was kind of a bougie thing to grow, but what the profit margins weren't really that big. Rice was another popular thing to grow in coastal regions. That's where rice does really well, is in coastal regions. And basically, a lot of times that rice was used to actually sell to other plantations, sometimes in America, sometimes in South American countries or in the Caribbean. But that was going to be food for many of the enslaved folks. Uh, Tobacco started off most important of all of the cash crops way back in colonial times, and now it's kind of playing second fiddle, but still important because obviously, if you have an addictive product, there's a lot of people who are going to want to buy that. And then cotton. In this era, in the 1800s, cotton is the most important thing the South grows. So if you remember when I talked about industrialization, when I talk about um, Europe and the North industrializing, textiles are always first. That's clothes, right? So there's this huge industrial boom going on in Europe and in the North. A lot of it is actually driven by Southern cotton. So again, even though we try and talk about these two regions as two separate things, we can't really escape the fact that in a lot of ways, they are always going to be connected. Cotton is one of those ways. Okay. And so, all the way up into the point that when the Civil War starts, the Southerners think that the British need Southern cotton so much they'll join the war to protect the supply. So, cotton is incredibly important crop and an incredibly profitable crop to grow. So I'm about at my 5-minute time limit. I'm going to look see what I can do to get rid of that in future videos. So this will be a two-parter. All right. So look at that, but you'll see this map again in the next video in the playlist.